Hi, I'm Garrett and welcome to Movie Night. You might notice that this isn't my normal co-host because Marci is feeling a little bit under the weather, but today we have special guest star Andrew Pittman. Say hello, Andrew.
Sorry guys, you're stuck with me. So basically, Slow West is a movie that follows young Jay Cavendish as he ventures from his home in Scotland to find his love that has recently had a large conflict happen at home and has since run to be a refugee in the western states of America. Basically, it follows his kind of search across the entire western half of the United States in the year 1870, so it's all Wild Westy and stuff like that. And it kind of climaxes in this giant journey where he meets up with lots of people, including some rugged cowboy guy that's really interesting and suits a lot of people. And I think it's a really interesting story.
So you said you had some points that you liked about the movie.
Yeah, I think that the real stars of this movie were not necessarily the two leads, but the cinematography and the general location, because it's filmed in not necessarily like the high mountain Rockies, but like the flat plainy with like mountains on all sides, lots of grains, and just an incredibly cinematic landscape that the director really milks, for all of its natural beauty. And I feel like it totally adds a sense to the vastness of the adventure of more so than any Wild West I think you've ever seen.
I was kind of shocked how, for Slow West, and it does feel slow and does feel like it takes its time, but with a tight 90-minute runtime, and the fact that I was never really bored. It was like I really felt like their journey took a long time and that Jay Cavendish traveled a really long way to get where he was going, but I never felt like it was boring. I never thought that it was tedious. I thought there was always something happening, and I think that definitely played into the whole Wild West atmosphere of you never know what's going to happen, you never know who you're going to meet.
Well, I mean, like with this movie, and I feel like it's a great way to portray like a Western storyline or like any journey basically. Half of the scenes are like slow with some twanging guitar music, and there's like mountains in the background and stuff, and they're just riding a horse or doing something weird. But then the other half are like gunshots and crazy wild, like people dying all over the place, and all these interesting characters that you're never going to see them again, because that's just how the Wild West storyline kind of works, right? And it's an interesting balance, the way that they've been able to have, like, it seemed almost as if they spent the exact same amount of time doing both.
Yeah, right? It was really well balanced movie, and it was really well paced.
So like you didn't know when you should kind of settle down for like, oh, I'm ready to enjoy these awesome cinematic shots, or like when you should be ready for someone to be killed any instant. And another thing that I feel really made this movie for me was the music.
Oh yeah,
did you feel that? Yeah, because it would just something crazy would happen, and then it's this clangy guitar kind of like Western like bluesy feel. Right? It's incredibly simple. I don't think there was a single like drum in the entire thing. It was just the same guitar that was just kind of like just portraying this horrifically badass kind of soundtrack to the whole thing. Yeah.
And like the simplicity of the guitar made it feel like it could just as easily be a soundtrack or some guy on a porch.
He's just sitting there.
Like sitting there watching the gunfights.
Yeah.
Okay, but I thought, especially considering I'd never seen this kid before, I was really impressed with how well the main kid who played Jay Cavendish did. Like, he was really good at... I still liked him, even though he was naive, and I never thought... There was not really a scene in the movie where I was like, even though he did stupid things, I was like, he's just like... he's being stupid for no reason. I always felt like...
My favorite thing about him, though, is that they did such a great job casting that part, because... I thought that he was my age, but I knew he for minutes I would think when he was like holding a gun, I'd be like, that kid is my age. But then like when he's riding a horse, like doing these kind of like things, I would think that he was older. And he's just so versatile in the way that they can utilize his young lookingness, but also like his height and like his general face structure that makes him seem like he's still just a kid, you know. And it's just going on this adventure. I feel like that definitely adds to it.
Well, I think it also helps that, he's riding around with rugged, late 30s, not shaven Michael Fassbender, who is incredible in this movie. Like, he does a really good job, and he narrates the whole movie, and he brings...
He's very believable.
And he brings this kind of archetypal... omniscient cowboy. Yeah. It's kind of like, you don't know where he came from, and you don't know where he's going, he just kind of is there. Alright, so overall, I thought Slow West was a really good time. That's definitely worth the watch. What did you think, Andrew?
I think that the Sundance Award really it deserves it because it sort of exemplifies that cinematic western and really uses the natural beauty of its locations to convey a long journey that really ends in a pretty intense climax. It's definitely worth the watch. I give it 5 out of 5 Pittmans.
Alright, excellent. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for coming. It was great having you, and I hope you want to come back some other time. So, until Andrew unfreezes himself, you all have a good one, and I'll see you next time.